I'd like to welcome you back to the Crossbanner Heritage Movement broadcast. You can find us here on YouTube under Crossbanner Heritage Movement. You can also find us on Facebook. We're there on Crossbanner Heritage Movement at Facebook as well. I'm Evangelist Derek G. Henson. It's a pleasure to have you with us again today. Our mission here is twofold. One, we are evangelistic. We are here to proclaim the gospel of Christ Jesus. We are here to lead the lost to the redemptive cross of Christ. Number two, we are exhortative. We are here to educate others on the founding principles and the historical heritage of our American Republic. Now today I want to speak to you on a recent article by the Reverend Byron Williams. Byron Williams is a writer and the host of Public Morality on WSNC 90.5 FM radio, 90.5, and he lives in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where I also live as well. He had an article recently in our Winston-Salem paper, the Winston-Salem Journal, and the article was called "Don't Be Ridiculous, Bernie Supporters." Now this is right after the Republican National Convention happened in Cleveland. I happened to be there that week. I was on vacation. I was there the week after that. I'm sorry, the week before that. The week before that, I was actually there the week of the NBA Cleveland Cavaliers parade. So I was there shortly before the RNC. And then after the RNC was the Democrat National Convention, which was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's what he's addressing in the article. Now, I want to share some of the article with you, and then I want to discuss it. Let me share just a couple of paragraphs with you. Now, he begins out, he says, in 1964, Lyndon Johnson won a huge landslide over Barry Goldwater. And he won 44 states. 44 states. He won 486 electoral votes. You only need 270 to win. LBJ got 486, 1964. 1964. He got 44 states, 486 electoral votes, and he won 61% of the popular vote. However, Barry Goldwater is the father of the modern conservative movement. Although he lost in a landslide in 1964, Reverend Williams says, the Republican response to this shellacking was to methodically build a conservative movement that found its apex with the presidency of Ronald Reagan, 1980 to 88. Between 68 and 88, Goldwater got trounced by LBJ in 64. From 68 to 88, Republicans won the presidency 5 out of 6 elections. And in doing so, America became a center-right nation. 68 to 88, America became a center-right nation. Now, since 1992, Democrats have won 4 out of 6 presidential elections. What's more, only once in that span, 92 to 2016, only once in that span did a majority of Americans favor the Republican candidate. That's Bush 2, second election, 2004. That's the only time a Republican candidate between 92 and 16 has gotten a majority of the popular vote. The current political pendulum appears to be swinging toward America becoming a center-left nation. From 68 to 88, they were a center-right nation. From 92 to today, they seem to be becoming a center-left nation. One might not know this watching the behavior of the Bernie or bust contingency at the Democratic National Convention that just concluded in Philadelphia. Though not reflective of all Sanders supporters, some are so certain that right dwells in the exclusive domain of their orthodoxy that Sanders failing to receive the Democratic nomination would result in their sitting out the election in November. Such decisions are very much part of democracy, but it is antithetical antithetical to our democratic values. The self-righteousness, Reverend Williams says, the self-righteousness exhibited led some to even boo Sanders as he called for unity. Now, here's what he says. The problem with their reactionary tirade is that it exhibits a misunderstanding of America. I don't think so. Okay? Reverend Byron Williams says the reason that Bernie supporters are acting like this is because that it exhibits a misunderstanding of America. The country did not become center-right overnight, nor will it become center-left overnight. But now he says, Reverend Williams says, none of this matters to the Bernie or bust group. I think it does matter. I think it does matter to them. But blinded by the certainty of their positions, they remain locked in the naive illusion that change occurs on the time frame they've set. I don't know. I don't know that they're naive about that. Were they too immersed in a euphoric rapture, unable to hear Sanders tell them that the presidential election alone will not lead to the change they seek? Did they leave early when he said that when, like Republicans post-64, that they needed to work to elect like-minded candidates at every level? Did they believe that a Sanders victory alone would have automatically led to a $15 an hour minimum wage? Free college tuition for all? Medicare for all? And he says, acting like spoiled children, they are blinded to how their contributions have changed the Democrat Party. Many of their issues are featured prominently, and they are, within the Democratic platform, and they have forced Hillary Clinton to the left. But to see these things through requires a sustained effort, something they don't appear willing to do. Now, if you're still with us and you were with me as I shared that, this is what I want to say about that today. I don't think they're being childlike. I don't think they're being childlike. I don't think they're being just profoundly immature in believing that the election process within the Democrat Party was rigged, that Hillary Clinton was encouraged within the party structure itself to win in ways that were unfair, unethical, and now they seemingly wanted to walk away from the convention because Bernie didn't win. No, I think it goes deeper than that. While I understand that many young people are naive about the ways of politics, and I was there, we all have been there. Some people are still there even in their middle age or older age. But I believe that it goes deeper than that. I believe that Bernie supporters within the Democrat Party and to the left of the political spectrum, like many on the politically right spectrum, who were for many, many years members of the Republican, capital R, Republican Party. But just like those Republican Party members, and I put myself in that number, I became a Republican at 16 in 1980 when Ronald Reagan was running for president. And I have stayed faithful to that party all these years. But like Republicans, capital R, have seen the light in some ways and become Republicans, small r, and I count myself today in that number, because we have had to deal with Bush 1 and his New World Order and his raising of taxes, which cost him the election, and his beginning to put the United States into wars that were not won or were not finished, or that caused vacuums, problems that the so-called intelligentsia or the military leadership of this country did not foresee. Their wars caused vacuums that they did not foresee, which caused greater problems in the Middle East. Like us on the right, who are no longer just Republicans, capital R, but we are Republicans, small r. We've woke up. We've woke up to the condition. Bush 1, Dole, Bush 2, Cheney, McCain, Romney, Jeb, others that are members of the Republican establishment who never met a war they didn't love, who never foresee the consequences of removing certain people from power and creating power vacuums that made the situation even worse. Not to mention, all right, now I've told you that, not to mention now, and I want to pull in these Bernie supporters, not just the military, not just foreign policy, but economics as well. Some of us on the right politically and some of them on the left politically have woken up to the reality of economic policy in the United States. And I believe Bernie believes as well, that our economic problems, the root of those problems began, much of them, not all of them, much of them began with NAFTA in 1992. You see, my friends, and I want to get this in before my time is over. President Bush, H.W. Bush, supported NAFTA. President-elect Clinton, running for president in 1992, Democrat, supported NAFTA. Rush Limbaugh, the darling of the right, supported NAFTA. Only Ross Perot, the third party candidate in 1992, and Patrick James Buchanan, my favorite Catholic and one of the greatest political editorialists of all time, Ross Perot and Pat Buchanan said, you remember Perot's words? You hear that giant sucking sound? That's the sound of jobs being sucked out of the American economy and sent overseas. Bernie supporters on the left and Republican small r economic conservatives on the right have seen the light. And we no longer believe that the Democrat Party establishment or the Republican Party establishment, Hillary or many of those 13, 17 candidates, Christie, Jeb, many others that were running this year, 16, they all still continue to support NAFTA. They all continue to support China, most favored nation status. They continue to allow jobs to be removed from America and sent to Latin America, Southeast Asia, communist red China, Mexico. They still see those jobs going overseas. And so we're not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore. The Republican Party establishment is not the answer. The Democrat Party establishment is not the answer. What's going to be different this year? Donald Trump is running for president. Donald Trump is not part of the Republican establishment. He was actually a Democrat for many years of his life before he became a Republican. His children didn't even change their affiliation in time to vote in the New York primary. It's not party, my friends. It's ideology. It's not immature to give up on Hillary and the Democrat establishment. That is not immaturity. That is a sign of maturity. And I hope that you'll look these things up for yourself. This has been the Crossbanner Heritage Movement broadcast. You can see us here on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. Tune in again. Until next time, this has been Evangelist Derek Henson.